The canoe as a symbol of colonialism and oppression? Well, according to CBC and left-wing academics, you betcha. I'm Brian Lilly with the Rebel.media. To me and to many of Canadians, millions of Canadians, the canoe is just quite simply a symbol of our country. Yes, it came to those of us who are not Aboriginal from the First Nations. They shared this technology, they shared this way of travel with us, but it has been part of Canada from the beginning. But according to an academic interviewed on CBC Radio, this is a symbol of colonialism and we have to rethink it. Now I'm going to play you some clips from Misawat Dean. She's an English professor at the University of Victoria. She's originally from Toronto, did her education at Carleton and at Queen's, and then moved out to UVic and claimed that this is a symbol of colonialism that we need to rethink. But the fact is, this was an interview done back in March, and nobody noticed it for quite some time on CBC Victoria's local website. And then a British journalist, a British academic, originally from Canada, Frank Ferretti, saw it and mocked it as the epitome of idiocy. I'd have to agree with him, and now the internet can't stop talking about this woman, Misawat Dean, an academic that says canoes are simply an object of colonialism.
So should we look at the canoe as a non-controversial symbol, or should we look at it as a symbol of colonialism?
Absolutely a symbol of colonialism. It seems to me that this narrative we tell ourselves about the canoe, about how canoeing makes us in touch with nature, how canoeing makes us in some way guiltless of the terrible things that the Canadian government and Canadians in general did to First Nations people. It's a myth, and we need to see that narrative obscures a narrative that we need to place ourselves in personally. We need to place ourselves there and understand ourselves to be part of that narrative of colonial dispossession.
Now, I'll almost forgive Jim Brown, the local CBC interviewer, for asking that question in the way he did. It sounded kind of loaded, but you have to listen to the interview ahead of that. And she is leading into this idea that the canoe is a symbol of colonialism, that the canoe is an evil symbol if you're not a First Nations person. So he asked the question, she responded, but listen to what she also says simply about being Canadian.
Even to say that you're a Canadian is to place yourself in that narrative of colonialism.
Yes, saying you're Canadian is a symbol or an act of colonialism. Look, this is the type of thinking that only academics that spend too much time staring at their belly buttons can actually come up with. This is a woman who thinks that anyone that's not First Nations shouldn't be here, that we're all colonialists, that we're white settlers, that we're awful, but of course, as noted by Facebook posts, supports the idea of bringing in thousands and thousands of Syrian refugees. I never understand these people. We're awful and evil for being here, but let's bring more in. How does that make sense? Look, either Canada is a country that welcomes people from around the world or we're not. She wants to seemingly open up our borders to everyone and say if you are not First Nations, you shouldn't be here and you're some kind of oppressor. I don't get it. What's bizarre is that the canoe is inextricably linked to our current Prime Minister and his father. Pierre Trudeau and Justin Trudeau are known for being in the canoes. Trudeau famously took the canoe to canoe trips before the debate in Calgary. Wasn't the only time he did it during the last election campaign. He sent out a Christmas card a couple of years ago of him and his family in canoes. It was beautiful, it was endearing, and this is something that I share with Justin Trudeau. I may disagree with him politically time and again, but as you can see from my own pictures, my office walls here adorned with pictures of the canoe up at the lake at St. Gabriel de Brandon in Quebec. I have no better time than when I am sitting in a canoe, paddling, lake, river, by myself, with others. It doesn't matter. It gets me close to nature. It makes me grounded. It helps calm me down. This is something that I'm not alone in. This is something that unites Canadians rather than divides us. And yet this feather-headed professor wants it to be something that divides us, wants it to be something that some of us can do and some of us can't. If we're First Nations, great, get in a canoe. And if not, then you've got to sit there and give yourself a lecture before you put the canoe in the water. This is what spending too much time in a university will do to you. I think it rots your brain at times. I have no problem with universities that expand the mind, that help students think differently, that do research that is valuable. But turning around and saying the canoe is a symbol of colonial oppression in Canada, well, that's just a dunderheaded move. But that's a German word. Maybe I'm culturally appropriating once again. Hope you like what you just saw. If you did, make sure you click here, subscribe to our YouTube channel, never miss a Rebel video again, or head on over to therebel.media, become a subscriber, a member, and access premium content that only members can access.